Statistically, they're the worst. Maybe if you have so much money, then you can afford to waste it. He was giving me examples because he actually did all three. What's up, Tim Sykes, millionaire mentor and trader here, giving tons of lessons. I see so much misinformation, so much BS out there. I just want to swipe it all away. I can't even keep up. There's so much noise. I feel for you. If you're just beginning and you're like trying to learn, you're like, what's real, what's not? And you're like a little bunny in the woods and the whole forest is burning all around you. I think that you can succeed, but you do have to be very careful with misinformation versus good information. I'm always trying to give good information. I mean, this is like the secret to my success in trading and now in teaching 30 plus millionaire students. If you click the link below, apply for my challenge, share, like, and subscribe to my YouTube if you want more videos. I never had a mentor. I never had a teacher. That really hurt me in the beginning. I got fortunate, right place, right time back in 98, 99, getting started the best market. Like anybody could have made money. Very similar to 2020 and 2021, 2 decades apart, but both very obvious manias. But in both the manias, I made money, but then also in the year 2000 during the market crash, I was up. In 2022, market crash, I was up slightly, nothing huge, but still protecting myself. In 2022, in case you don't know, a few studies have come out saying that the average trading account lost 44%. If you're in crypto, you probably lost 70 or 80 or 90%. It's very scary. For me, I'm always guided by what I've learned over the past 20 plus years. I'm now guided by what I've learned works for students because I've been teaching for 15 years. So I'm using my own personal trading data to give me some guidance. I'm using the students' trading data to give me guidance on how students can learn. Like, I think, did I mention that I have over 3 dozen or nearly 3 dozen millionaire students? Did I say that at the beginning? I got to say that, not to brag, but to help you understand that we have now a lot of data. Students from all walks of life who have now succeeded where people didn't think it was possible. Some of my top millionaire students were like, yeah, I'll join your challenge, but I'll give it a chance. I still don't really believe in it. But they did trust me. They followed the process and surprise, they became millionaires. That's not to say everyone will. If you look at industry stats, 90% of traders lose. So how do you know what's good versus bad? Well, again, it takes some time. You have to weed out the bad. But I will tell you, just expect the worst out of everyone and you'll never be disappointed. You really have to be careful. Almost everyone is trying to scam you or make money off you in some way. And I say this because I want to help you. I'm very blessed to have a business where it's in my own best interest to have the most successful students. Brokers, they could care less if you make money or not, right? They're just trying to make commissions. They actually want you to trade more. Brokers don't like me because I tell people to trade less, to choose the best trades only. I hurt their commission business. Sorry. Promoters all over the place on Twitter, stock twits, and chat rooms galore. They're trying to induce you into buying their pump. Whether it's a stock, whether it's a crypto. By the way, you're not talking to me or any of my top students on WhatsApp or DM or Telegram. Those are just imposters trying to scam you with some, Bitcoin or Forex scam. They're all over the place. Promoters are trying to lure you in. If you ever do buy a promo and then you mention to the group that you're thinking about selling, they'll quickly come down on you. They'll say, if you sell, you're weak. If you sell, you're out of the cool kids club. Because why? They don't want their house of cards to risk come crashing down. So promoters don't like me when I call out their BS. Short sellers, if you say, okay, Tim, everyone's a scam, like let's just bet against everything. I used to do that. I made millions shorting, but shorting is very crowded right now. And there's a lot of groupthink in these short selling Discord chat rooms where they all short the same stock and they try to push it down. It works a lot of the time. I'm not saying short selling doesn't work, but it's very risky because everyone's in the same play and every now and then they get squeezed. Some of my top students who, don't necessarily like my conservative ways, they're shorting plays like ILAG. Several of my top students lost 5, 6, 7 figures shorting ILAG. It wasn't even a good setup. They're just in these groupthink short selling chat rooms. So I want to show you all the bad stuff. And there is some good stuff. Because I've been around now for, trading 20 plus years, traveled to over 100 countries. I've made some friends, some contacts. It's amazing when you are real, like people just come out of the woodwork and they just want to talk to you, and it's pretty cool. I've met several billionaires now. Just a few weeks ago, I'm hanging out with Brad Pitt, totally out of the blue. Really cool guy, really humble guy. But in this video, I want to give tips from these billionaires. I know that was a long intro, but I need you to understand that like when I give you tips, it's useful. Some of the most successful people in the world I've had the chance to talk to and learn from. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, this billionaire, that billionaire. Like this isn't like a comparison. It's just giving you tips. So I guess we'll call this like 7 tips from billionaires, right? I'll come up with like the top 7. We'll count it down. I'll try to put it in order of most useful. Tip number 7. I thought this was very funny from one of the billionaires. This was a few years ago, and I was like, I get pitched all these businesses all the time. And there's one billionaire like stuck his like fat finger in my face, and he's like, never invest in restaurants, bars, or nightclubs. And statistically, these are like, 3 terrible investments. Why do people do it? Because they're fun. Yeah, I'm producing a movie. Yeah, this is my bar. Yeah, this is my nightclub. Statistically, they're the worst. Maybe if you have so much money, then, you can afford to waste it. He was giving me examples because he actually did all 3. And he said, I want to say he did like 5 or 6 movies. And he's like, I had the best actors. I have Oscar award-winning cinematographers, directors. They all bombed. That's not to say that all of them are going to be that way, but statistically, that's bad. And this billionaire cares about statistics. Tip number 6, another billionaire who I met in Connecticut, just outside New York at a crazy house, at a crazy party. He's all about data. He doesn't care anything about, like, I'm telling you about my strategy. He's like, shut up. He basically said that, and I was laughing. He's like, what's the data say? What do your spreadsheets say? And for me, I'm not great at math. I don't use spreadsheets. Several of my top millionaire students do. And he was telling me that if I ever wanted to scale up, that's what I should do. And I thought to myself, well, I'll never be a billionaire because I'm not going to do it. I'm just not good at that. Tip number 5. This is another billionaire. This is crazy, this comment. And again, you can take information from people, you can ignore it. This other guy, I was having some trouble like just trying to manage everything. I was telling him about my charity and like teaching and trading, and everything was like coming down on me. There was a lot of deadlines, and he's like, you gotta get some help. You gotta get some managers and like people who can, micromanage for you. You shouldn't be doing all of this. And I thought to myself, and I was like, I like doing this. I want to micromanage. I don't trust anybody to take control. And again, this is yet another reason why I'm not going to be a billionaire. And he was right. He's head of several of the most successful companies. He's got tons of managers, and he was telling me about like his organization and how he just deals with a few like overarching things, and it's his job to like find the best managers. Completely the opposite of everything I do. That's why he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. Tip number what? 4? Tip number 4, another one. This is a very good tip that I actually did listen to. And this billionaire specifically said, this was before I got started donating all my trading profits to charity. He was saying, we're talking about like why trading sometimes gets boring, where it's just money. And he was like, you got to make it more meaningful. Like he was already happy that I was teaching. I told him how, meaningful teaching was and how I love my students. But he was like, I still was a little sad just with trading because I was like, I make like $10,000 on a trade. Doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes, especially back then, this was a few years ago, I was trading bigger and I just wasn't getting the adrenaline rush I used to. Before, when I made 10,000, I would be like, yeah. Now it's like, oh, did it again. And he was telling me, a little bit about charity and giving back. I did not go all into donating all my trading profits at first. I started small, but then I liked it and I wanted to donate more. And now it's just all my trading profits to charity. So I actually listened to that tip. Number 3. Ooh, I got to get to like some important ones here. Another one, what I've learned from billionaires, like they're just very introspective and they really know themselves. this other billionaire, this was several years ago. These aren't all like different billionaires. There's probably, I'm mixing like 5 up in this list. But this other billionaire told me how great it was to travel. And this was, I don't know, 12 years ago. I mean, I'm over 130 countries now. I think I was probably half in at that time. And at that time, I was going back to like the same countries like Italy, England, Greece. Like, these are fun countries, easy countries. He was telling me to go to third world countries. And I was like, why would you want that? Like, you're going to get a stomach ache. And he was like, no, it's going to open up your mind. You know, you're going to get a lot of perspective. He was dead on right. I can't encourage you enough to go to third world countries. Suck up the stomach aches, bring some extra Pepto, you know, don't drink the local water. Don't trust anybody who says that the local water is fine. They're lying, or they're naive, or they're ignorant. They're just wrong. Always watch water, boil the water. Stomach ache can really, like some of these stomach aches in some of these countries can really hurt your trips. But going to a third world country, getting perspective, just madness, just absolute incredible madness. Going along with that, like, how do you open up your perspective? How do you like learn more? How do you become, more perceptive? Perceptive?
I don't know your sentence.
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired. I just got back from Japan. No, how to get more perceptive and just like figure out, you know, like I always say, like you have to fine tune your strategy, your trading strategy. You have to fine tune your life too. And this other billionaire was telling me about his crazy life. And he was really focused on like meditation and just listening to like his body. Like he did not set an alarm. This blew my mind because I was like tired. I was like, you know, jet lagged too at the time. And he was like, nope, you know, just sleep in. Whatever is there, it'll be there afterwards. And I was thinking to myself, like, no, like I love morning panics on these stocks. I have to be up. And his whole perspective was different. And he was just like, you know, you have to focus on your health. You have to focus on your mental state. And, you know, again, I take some and I leave some tips. I'm not great at meditation. I've tried a few times. Maybe I just haven't met the right like yogi or something. I know some people like do like, you know, sunrise meditation and they feel in balance with the world. Whatever works for you. Everyone is different. But the great takeaway was that he was obsessed with his mind and his spirituality and his physical health. And he said how much all of that, being in tune with that, really helped him prioritize. Not that like, obviously everybody wants to be fit or whatever, and it's good, like if you have money, you can take care of your fitness more. But he was saying how having total control of his body and his mind helped him make better business decisions. And I thought that was interesting. And I've heard this not just from billionaires, but several millionaires. They love that. So that's cool. And then I think am I on my final tip?
Yeah, that would be number 2.
So my final tip, this is for myself. And I'm not a billionaire, and I'll never be a billionaire. Because in this tip, we're going to actually use my TEDx talk. Probably gave one of the least watched TED Talks of all time. I gave a talk on like why I'll never be a billionaire, and that's why I saved this for number 1. I had some very cool graphics where I had like an animated like rich guy with like a power suit and like diamonds and everything, but around his ankle was like this ball and chain because his wealth was his prison. And this is something that I've taken from several billionaires, several millionaires, from my own experiences, and I've just mashed it up. And I am so much happier donating all my trading profits to charity, so much happier not necessarily just going to third world countries, but also visiting like first world countries too, but just traveling, meeting a lot of people, talking with a lot of people, spending my money on myself, on my friends, on my family, donating a lot. Like my accountant thinks I'm crazy because like he's like, oh, save more. I only have a few million in the bank and I'm okay with that. I'm very happy. I know some people where they don't donate anything, they don't go anywhere, they have much bigger numbers in the bank, and to them it's like a video game and they're trying to hit those goals. If you want to do that, I think that's fine. But for me, I'm really happy with the balance that I found. I still have some savings. I'm not saying like spend it all, but spending money on my parents, moving them down from Connecticut to Florida, some of the best money I've ever spent. Donating now, $8 million plus to charity. Amazing. I love it. Money can go very far, especially when you focus on your passions and you find causes that are close to your heart. Traveling, I love it for my friends, for my family, for my students. Literally just got back from my latest trip to Japan with my latest millionaire student, Bryce, just opening up his mind to Japan. He never would have gone there without me. I'm really glad I can, be a good tour guide now after going there like 20 plus times. We had like some ins at some really amazing restaurants. I had some good travel tips because I've been there so much. You got to build your own dream life, and that's whatever it is that you want. Don't listen to somebody else. Like if you talk to some billionaires, don't be like, oh, the billionaire says this, I have to do this exactly. For me, I'll teach you what I've learned. I'll teach you what I think is good for students. I want more millionaire students, but don't feel like you need to do every single thing that I say in terms of your life. I have several students now who are 7 and 8 figure students, and they do what they want. I'm just their training wheels. So I'm very happy to be their training wheels. I don't need to be like in control of your life forever. I'm just trying to help you with your studying because again, I never had a mentor. I never had a teacher. So I'm trying to help speed up your learning curve. I'm grateful for all the billionaires that I've met. I'm grateful for the celebrities that I've met. I'm grateful for the average people that I've met. I don't, discriminate. I do pay attention to what billionaires say. I am very aware, like when I'm talking to a big celebrity like Brad Pitt, people hang on his every word. And it was actually pretty cool meeting Brad Pitt because I was just like, pretty casual with him, and everyone else is like who meets him, they're like very uptight, they're very scared. And me and my partner on my charity, Karmagawa, Matt Abad is a photographer. He deals with celebrities all the time. And we're literally just talking. And Brad Pitt actually has a lot of tattoos. You might not know that, but he actually has to cover up a lot of his tattoos for his movie roles. And my partner Matt has a lot of tattoos, and literally they're talking tattoos like Brad Pitt followed like Matt's tattoo artist on Instagram. And I was like, what is going on here? So long story short, you have one life and you got to make it count and get tips from everybody. You don't necessarily have to follow everybody's tips. There's going to be some bad tips. Even if the billionaire or the celebrity or the well-meaning wannabe teacher is trying to help you, it might not be right for you. You have to decide, but I can't encourage you enough to really study a lot, get a lot of tips coming in, and then you choose which ones you want to listen to. Never be afraid to ask questions. By the way, if you think you're talking to me on DM or Telegram or anything, you're not. I'm sorry. None of my top students and I do that. It's just all imposters. If you click the link below and join my challenge, that's where I do Q&A. I get questions all the time. And the only sane way to answer everybody is in my challenge webinar. So I'm sorry, but that's a hard rule. If you're going to message me on different platforms and you think that you're talking to me, it's very confusing. If you ever want to know 100% that you're talking to me, in my challenge chat room, I give weekly webinars. And again, you can ask me anything. That's the crazy thing. There's nothing off limits. No question is too basic. There's a lot of people who get well-known and rich and famous, and like things get cut off. Like, oh, you can't ask about that. You can't ask me about anything. I'm an open book, and I love that. I'm trying to help you with my own lessons over time. I have very thick skin, so you can pretty much say whatever you want to me. Perks of, being on some heavily edited reality shows. But that's it. I love teaching. I love learning. The billionaires that I have met, the celebrities that I've met, like the richest, most powerful people, they really think differently. And they really invest their time and money into their craft and into education. And I wish more people would do it. There's not a huge difference between billionaires, like celebrities, like powerful people, and average people. The biggest difference is just their priorities and their value on time and education. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Have a good one.